Hi everyone, welcome to today's video where we do Tiny Glade again. It's one of my favorite games to play when I feel like doing something a little bit more chill. So today's build is the ranch, as I call it. It is my character from Dungeons & Dragons, up and coming. It's his family home. So for the terrain, I wanted to kind of keep the lovely kind of spring tree nature situation. So I started working on some paths. I wanted the river to be the central part of the build, so I wanted to add a lot more greenery and make it a little bit more full forest, outskirts of town kind of situation. But yeah, I really wanted the river to be the focal point, so extended that out to cover the entire diorama. And then I added some stuff in, so I added some flowers and a little bit of hills, terrain, to make it a little bit more visually interesting, add a bit of texture around before I started building. Yeah, I didn't do it as much in my last build, so I wanted to focus on it here. And I think it really paid off. It looked really cool in the end. And it inspired some other buildings, which we'll see later. So here's the first, I call them the pair houses. Yeah, so these are two houses with a courtyard between them. And I really wanted to kind of like play around with the idea of them being cousins rather than siblings or twins. And also the kind of foresty vines situation over there was really cool, so I wanted to play into that. I started playing around with a bit of barn vibes, but I think it was a little bit too barn, so we went back from that because I wanted it to be cozy elven cottage and less barn, actual ranch. Even though I call this the ranch. You'll see why in a minute. But yeah, it took me a while to kind of figure out how on earth to do what I'm doing here. It's gonna take a minute. I am trying to do staircases desperately. I couldn't figure it out. It took so long. I knew that it's possible because the outpost and another build that I had done off stream had stairs, but I couldn't figure it out. So what did I do? I googled it. I googled it. It's paths. If you put a path right up beside a building and it's low enough, it'll create a staircase. So I then kind of adjusted the terrain a little bit to get the path right up there so that it could be wide and low. But yeah, that's how stairs work. I wanted the houses to be kind of like a smaller quarters. Yeah, so I wanted to keep it kind of flowery and spring to this build with lots of windows and stuff. Yeah, I feel like the right building, no, this is the left side. I feel like the right side is Nedak's house. That's my character's name. That's his house. Yeah, so I wanted there to be this kind of cozy atmosphere here, so I really tried to keep the flowers, the vines, and keep it all very closed space and cluttered. I really wanted him to have a chimney as well, because that feels really cozy, and I love my chimney, so I was like, well, he's gonna love his chimney too. I wanted the houses to look really different as well, lots of natural light. Yeah, I of course added a balcony because I love a good balcony. They are always so good. So I definitely wanted him to have it. And then I realized that having a door and a balcony does not make sense. So, well, off it goes. Yeah, I didn't want to go so intense with the banners this time either. So there's a lot more windows here. And I tried to use more terrain as well to make it a bit more interesting than just putting windows everywhere. Not windows, banners everywhere. I put windows everywhere. You gotta have a happy medium with these things, as I found out. Yeah, I wanted the windows to help make it look less barn house here. And then of course I had to come in with my banners. I really like the double windows, so I use that quite a lot. Especially the triple ones, I like bay window. Yeah. I wanted his house to be quite open, so yeah, I wanted the windows to make it look less kind of barn house and more overgrown cottage, as I called it. So these are quite tall buildings, and the cottages are, I don't know, I feel like they're tiny and small. Super cute cottages. I really like the windows on the corners as well, so I used that quite a bit in this and future builds as well. I love it. Yeah, so I spent quite a bit of time playing around with placements of things to see what generated and yeah, kind of what looked good where. Yeah, I like the corners, the corner windows in this house. I think I like this house. It's a lot more pared back than NetX's house, but I also love NetX's house so much. Yeah, I wanted the two houses to have that same decorative style, but you know, not the same kind of stuff. So while I do eventually actually add a chimney to the second house, I didn't want it to look the same. Yeah, so they're similar enough, but not too similar. Here we go. This is about where I started to use some inspiration from previous builds. I like things sticking out of buildings a lot, so I brought it back here. So I really liked using it last time. And yeah, I don't know, I feel like it looks a little bit more interesting if there's something coming out of a building. It took me a while to figure out where I actually wanted it. Quite a while. I spent a lot of time looking at it and then adjusting it and then looking at it. Can you believe this is on 4 times speed? There we go. Here's the barn! The actual barn! I really went to town with the curved roof here. Because it's a ranch. I wanted a barn. I want some barn animals in there. Yeah. I love the wooden beams as well. So I had to improvise a little bit here. So I realised that the doors aren't very big. So that's when I brought in the big guns. A lot of barns have giant windows as well, so I tried my best to make that as much as I could. Yeah. I also wanted the pathway to be behind the houses, so the barn feels like a hideaway, kind of secluded area. It's off to the side, kind of a nice little distraction. Yeah, and then we're back to decorating. I spent so long adjusting this damn house, and I don't even know why. Just to add more windows. I'm so silly with this. Yeah. Here we go, so the chimney. I liked it at the back of the house. And then I adjusted things again and again. Then I realized that I could just move the chimney. Here we go. Ta-da! This is what the actual structure looks like. I was like, not enough greenery, so I added some more trees. It took me so long to find the color palette for these two houses, but here we go. So where I start to kind of play around with it a little. I wanted it to be a bit darker, a little bit more, yeah, a little bit darker there, with the darker windows and lighter wood on the stone. I really like it. I think it looks pretty. Yeah, it was a little bit less liberal with the panels on this. Quite a bit less liberal. But yeah, I really like the blue and the purple. It actually ironically matches NetX's palette quite a bit. Unintentional. I didn't intend it for that at all. It just worked out that way. But yeah, I mean, they're some of my favorite colors, so of course I'm going to pick those. And they look really nice when it's quite a washed out wall to contrast with, which is something I always really like to do. I spent quite a while. Then we go to the barn, and of course the barn has to be red. It's a red barn. Try and keep with the brown barn kind of look. With so many windows. I really wanted giant bay windows, but I couldn't make it work, so I just improvised as best as I could. banners, of course. I really couldn't help myself. They had to be perfect. And then, well, I was on the banner run, so more banners, am I right? Better colour them up. Took me a while to get the right banners for what I wanted. And then I realised the colours were a little bit wrong. So I adjusted them. And the pictures. And then I realised, gee, there's a lack of banners here. So, of course, more banners. Someone needs to take that tool away from me, please. No more banners. No more banners, please. I spent so long. I'm so pedantic about the pictures and where the banners are. You can tell, because this is 4 times speed and I'm still on the banners. Oh, no. Why am I like this? Every time I do this banner, must I do the banners? This was what houses looked like when I was finished. And then I decided, maybe I need to stop. So I wanted this area here to have a pergola, a sitting area, like a little tea spot to overlook the entire property. So I started experimenting with what that would kind of look like with the paths. I wanted it to be really open. So it was really, really important that these doors disappeared. So I made very quick work of that. And I wanted it to kind of match the rounded roofs and stuff. This is where I get distracted again. I get distracted so easily with things. Here's the bridge. I made a bridge. I hadn't even finished coloring the pergola, and I was like, bridge. This took so long to figure out as well. It took me forever to realize that bridges were just this. It took me so long. But I use them quite a bit now. So I wanted to use the stairs again with the bridge, so use that terrain tool to get the path right up to where I wanted it. So I wanted it to kind of be in between the fence rather than around it. Of course, I had to colour it correctly. I wanted it to be darker than the house, so that's why I picked that particular wood colour. But it also matches the bricks, so it makes sense that, you have this. Yeah. And then I did some fences. Actually get rid of these fences later, because I don't like them. But I thought that maybe, it'd be so safe if we had fences. Then of course some more greenery. Gotta make the place look nice and spring, nice and pretty. Put some greenery here. And then it's bridge number 2. Boy, I love bridges. I feel like having nature around this farm, this property, the ranch, makes sense for my character's family, because his mum is a healer, so she uses a lot of plants and stuff to create ingredients for potions and healing salves. Yeah. So in spite of me literally making a bridge like a minute ago, I still take forever to make this one, so I'm like, it's not the same. There we go, some more paths. Then I realized, you know what? Can't have a farm without a silo. You got farm animals. They're gonna need to put the food somewhere during the winter. So here's our pretty silo. I wanted it to be super overgrown. So I put a lot of plants. And then I kept the vines over the thing, because it looked really cool. Over the door, because it looked cool. That's where I left it. Then we go to the second house. Yeah, I wanted the second house to be a larger U-shape. Kind of like those rich people lake houses. Because I imagine that his family is kind of well off. Because 2 houses, goodness me. That's a lot of money to be throwing around, right? It took me so long to do the roof. Too long. Longer than I'd ever want to admit. Too long. Way too long. And I didn't actually go with this in the end, because it looked weird. But yeah, it's sticking out in the river at the moment. but I do eventually actually pull it back in because I want it to be smaller and cozier. This is about the size here, but I realize it's quite crammed. So I do adjust that a bit to work around that. This is where I started to get inspired by the barn roof. Then I realized, wait a minute. You can't really see the back of it anyways. So a lot of adjustments to where I finally go, maybe this could have a courtyard. Here we go, it's courtyard time. I pull it out here and it starts to look quite a bit more like I want it. Spent a lot of time figuring out how I wanted the roof to look. We got the courtyard. I actually did the mismatched end caps on purpose because I wanted them to be a little bit more interesting to look at, and also have a separate entranceway because I think it's fun, it's interesting. Yeah, this is why I didn't do the fence on this side, because there's a lot of greenery and pathways. I wanted it to be quite open, which is when I, funnily enough, started working on the fence again. 'Cause as you know, you get a little bit distracted. So I take it all the way around the property. I'm like, yep, this is the boundary line. Let's go boundary line. Classic ADHD moment. And then I decide, you know what? We could have some more plants. Maybe a pond. I want some more ducks. And then I decided, let's finish this off around here. And I get to a point where I meet them up right about here. I'm like, oh, nice, very cool. So then try and find it on the other side. And then I go, you know what? Let's go back to the house. It needs some doors. I do this a lot. And yeah, I start building the doors, building the windows, putting lots of big windows in. Lots of natural lighting again. It's gonna have so much natural lighting, trust me. So many windows. Once again, another tool that needs to be taken away from me. Stat. Take those damn windows. It's probably not even structurally sound with the amount of windows these builds have, I swear. But I love natural lighting, man. I really need a game where you can like build the outside and the inside, but I feel like it would take me forever to do anything. So many windows. So many windows. I do like the bay windows as well. I wanted to keep this edge so that there's like a kitchen part here, so that's why there's a lot of chimneys going on. So I feel like there's a large, massive kitchen. Nice and cozy. More windows. You can never have too many. And just when you thought that I was done with the windows. Oh, nope. More windows. I do love windows. Had a little look. Trapdoors are a cute addition. Then I decided it's finally time to color it. I wanted it to match the other building as well, so I stuck with the blue roof and the pebble windows and the darker blue doors, pebble doors, and the darker windows. Also realized that you can also change what the windows look like as well with this tools too, which is cool. But I basically just spent the entire time coloring the windows right. Wanted it to be perfect. And I wanted the silo to match the barn, so I made it a little darker and a little bit more red. Here we are, back again, adjusting, making sure everything's perfect. All of the windows. So I'm actually cycling through the types of things that generate, just to kind of get what I want out of the windows. And generate the clutter that I wanted around. Cool thing about the game now is that you can actually unlink these from the windows and move them around. duplicate them like you want, which I think is super awesome. And then I decided to get distracted again and put some lights in. Don't worry, I don't forget about the banners. They're coming, trust me. But I did want some lighting in here. Wanted it to be lit up during the night. This is about where I decided that the fences looked weird. It's like, no, why would there be fences across the river? Why would I be blocking the river? So I got rid of that. Stat. I didn't want that there. Then I realized I should probably join up the property boundary. So that was quick short work of that. Goodbye fence. And then we're back to the lights to make sure that there was a light in every spot that made sense. And then every single one of them had to be the right color, which I'm pretty sure was orange. Then I adjusted the pergola again. And now it's banners time. We love banners in this house. I spent so long on banners. We really need to get rid of banners in my Tiny Glade builds desperately. I use them too much. I'm admit that I'm addicted, I know. It's okay. I spent so long adjusting it. I didn't want it to cross over, but I couldn't get it to not do that for so long. I get there, trust me. I get there. But it takes a lot of shuffling around. I was getting so frustrated. I was so annoyed with it. It got to the point where I was like, I give up, I'm just gonna do this. And then I went, no, that looks dumb. I liked it here. I found this okay. So this is fine. But I wanted it to join. I wanted it to join so bad. But it wasn't happening. I love it when you accidentally rotate things. Oops. It took way longer than I'd like to admit to get this working. Yeah, this is my build. A ranch. Starting to kind of finish up with the banners here. But yeah, I actually took a screenshot of this, and this has been my desktop background for quite a while, quite a number of weeks. Yeah, I really like it. She didn't take me as long as I thought it did. But yeah, thanks for watching everyone, and catch you next time.